everybody. Welcome back to Tyman On Tap. This week's episode is the last episode in August. We have some great guests tonight, the Arkatex. They're out of New Britain. We'll be able to talk with them tonight. So make sure you're following this on social media, facebook.com/TymanOnTap, Google+, Twitter, Tyman On Tap Show, YouTube.com/TymanOnTap, Vimeo, Tyman On Tap. We have our podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Galore. We're also on Flickr, flickr.com/TymanOnTap. Instagram. Now the Instagram name's kind of hard. It's Tyman_on_tap. So for some reason, all of our social media does not use underscores besides Instagram. So you got to pay attention to that. It's interesting. And so we are recording on August 26th. You're probably watching this, if you're watching the first run, either Thursday night or Friday. So we have a great show. We've got some great guests. They're going to talk about their music, and we're going to play one of their songs for you. And you'll be able to hear that live. So let's take a quick break, and we'll bring you back with our guest. So hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those PSAs. So I'm going to introduce you to our guest, Arkatex. They drove all the way down here from Britain. So hello, guys. Welcome to the show.
What's going on?
How's it going?
So tell me about yourself. So how do you describe your music?
Basically, which is, I say that loosely because we're not necessarily that basic, but we're a hip hop and R&B duo.
Okay.
We tend to dabble in a lot. You would say our main genre would be hip hop / R&B. We dabble in pop, we dabble in rock, we dabble in Spanish music. So we like to have a well-rounded area of music that helps us out and gets more shows.
Yeah. So let's talk about your musical influences, because you said you're R&B and rap, and I was reading your Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Arkatex. We'll have the link up on the screen so people can go to it. So one of you is more of an R&B guy, one of you is more of a rap guy. Is that kind of?
Yeah, definitely.
So how does the Spanish elements and other elements get into your music?
Well, because we're both Puerto Rican.
Okay.
So that kind of helps.
Yeah.
For the main part, I'm the rapper, he's the singer.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously both grew up listening to Spanish music. I actually grew up listening to a lot of rock and stuff like that with my parents.
Yeah.
So I always have that influence in the back. Like it was a lot of Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and all the 90s era kind of 80s, 90s. I'm an 80s baby, 90s influence.
A lot of hair.
Yeah, a lot of hair, a lot of purple.
Yeah.
Not tight, but whatever.
But you know what? If you look at the style, it's all coming back.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Leather pants and too much showing.
It's very different though, right? It's the hipsters now. It's not the people that want to overindulge. It's the people that
Yeah.
they're the nihilistic people, right?
Yeah.
The people living in Brooklyn. So when you were kids, so your parents were listening to rock and you had Spanish music because you guys are Spanish. What about so how did the rap and R&B kind of, was it just like what was on the radio, what's on TV? Is that how you got into it, or?
I mean, mainly a lot of the stuff on the radio. Grew up in a 90s era. I mean, I barely made it into the 90s, era because I'm an 89 baby.
Okay.
So, but yeah, a lot of the stuff I've gotten influence from just radio stations that I've heard, whatever CDs that my dad was playing or whatever my mom used to listen to.
For myself, funny thing is, I've always been a real R&B guy. I love the 90s R&B, Boyz II Men, Drew Hill, and Brian Knight, all that. I love it. If I could sing, I'd be singing, but it's not happening.
It's my job.
But me, it was more like late middle school. I started getting into the rap scene, and then just kind of influenced it. And back then, we had like the Busta Rhymes and people doing some crazy stuff. So in my mother's ear, I was like, "What are you listening to?" But I was like, "Mom, this is cool.
This is what we listen to now."
Just took it from there.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
I remember for a while, all his music videos were shot in fisheye.
Yeah.
Everything was
a lot of hands going at the camera. That was good times. Good times.
Yeah, it would have looked good in 3D though.
Yeah.
It would look real cool in 3D.
And he did this, was it this Mountain Dew commercial where he was dressed as like a white dude, and
Oh yeah, because he had a video like that too.
yeah,
Oh, I forgot what song it was. I remember that. Yeah.
That one I don't remember.
That was an odd time.
Yeah.
So, any other 90s rappers? I mean, I guess this is like late 90s, mid to late 90s rappers.
Yeah, I'd say like 96, 97-ish is when I started getting more into it.
Yeah.
So it was like the Busta Rhymes, like Big Pun.
But you can always go with, your Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest names, especially out here in Connecticut, one of the most influential hip-hop groups in general.
Yeah.
Big L, Big Pun, like you were saying. You got Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. All those 90s hip-hop era, they influence a lot of stuff. They
And
still to this
the
day.
thing is, back then, too, I don't know if you're familiar with the New Britain area. There was a club in New Britain, the Sting. Did that ring a bell?
Yeah.
There were so many rappers that went there back. Now it's a big plaza for shopping and stuff, but it was a huge club back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I saw Big Pun there, and Wu-Tang was always there. Like, there used to be a lot of people that came to New Britain before going to the XL Center. It was the Civic Center when we grew up,
Yeah.
and all these other places that are around now. So they were here. Just if you were into it, you were into it.
Yep.
That's cool. So I guess you missed a lot of well, I guess you're too young for it, but did you ever go back and listen to any of the late 80s rap, the early 90s rap?
Run DMC
Oh,
and Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah, that's even older than, right?
Yeah, a little older than that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, for me, as being younger, I have to go back to listen to a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, I have really no choice. If
Yeah.
I'm not, I need to learn from what previously was, because honestly, what's out here now, I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
There's a few select few rappers that I enjoy now, but a lot of my favorite rappers, had their best songs to me back in the 90s, especially like, your Nas and your Jay-Z and things like that.
Yeah.
That was just
Actually,
for me.
back in, it had to be like 05, 06, I actually had the privilege of opening up for Sugar Hill Gang
Really?
down in downtown Hartford on Brickyard. They're no longer there anymore, but a lot of people used to go there too. And they came, and we were real cool with the owner. He got us in. He booked us in we opened up with them. They were such cool guys. They actually let us on stage when they did Rapper's Delight. I thought
That is really cool.
It was the best time I ever had performing.
That's really cool.
It was a blast.
So what about the R&B side? So what are you listening to any R&B guys right now, or?
Well, I mean, a lot of the R&B is no longer how it used to be. Back in the day, everybody was singing about that woman they love or the woman that left them. Now it's a lot more.
It's rap, but they're singing.
Yeah, it was a lot different. I mean, lately I've been hearing, this Sam Smith. He's been catching my ear lately.
Yeah.
He has a great, tremendous voice. Although he has his, popish songs here and there, he does have some ballads that I was like, okay. And then obviously Bruno Mars, he's a tremendous songwriter.
Yeah.
You can't really knock him for what he does.
Is he even R&B though?
A little. I mean, his vocals are off the chain. I mean, that's the main thing. His vocals are ridiculous for me, and he does get into some R&B ballads. Especially, none of them are the ones that are really out too much.
Yeah.
They don't get as popular, obviously, but those ballads that he does sing, he tears them down.
He's a very interesting guy because he's a very musically talented, and he has a full rock band, but he's most of his singles are just pop, and I guess there might be a little bit of urban pop, but this is pretty much pop, right?
Well, I think it's more of the stuff you hear on the radio. When you go back and listen to the actual album, he has so much. He has a real old school feel to his music, which I like about him. Even almost a 50s type style.
Yeah.
When he gets into certain
Well, he did that band he was the front man, but it was a band, a 4-piece band that was it was it was like a super group almost, and they were all 50s almost doo-wop. It was weird.
That's crazy.
It was a couple of years ago. It's one of these things that they do on the side. It was just interesting, and
just needs something new every now and then.
Yeah. But yeah, he's really talented. The Super Bowl, the drumming, that was pretty cool.
That was
ridiculous.
awesome. He
that.
definitely killed that show.
And Red Hot Chili Peppers didn't play, but he played. Or his band played. The Red Hot Chili Peppers wouldn't play.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. But all right. So what about old school R&B? You talked about Boyz II Men. Do you go anything before that? Are you into any 70s type of stuff, maybe a little Motown thrown in there?
See, that's stuff that I like. Your Jackie Wilson, your Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
That's Otis Redding.
Yeah.
Those are some of my just favorites, and I can't help it.
Yeah.
You got your Paul Anka. You got the Penguins, who had I don't even know how many songs. That was way before my time.
Yeah.
But those are all some songs that you'll hear some of them are coming back out now. And let's see, the Penguins that did Earth Angel came back out in Back to the Future, sung a little differently, which was like amazing to me at that point. I was like, what is this? This is crazy. But I like a lot of my influences. I have a lot of old school. I got an old soul, I guess.
Yeah, that's good, right?
I like to think so.
This is interesting. Like, if you ever look, if you peel back the onion, like, who influences the people that influence you? You're going all the way back.
Yeah, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah, so, all right, we're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back and talk about how they met and go from there. Welcome back, everybody. We're here with the Arkatex. You guys need an album like Talking Heads had. The name of the band is Talking Heads. So everybody that read their album
so
knew.
know.
Yeah. So, all right. So, how did you guys meet?
We met back in
The year, I don't know.
about 2009-ish.
Okay.
I've been doing music for a long time. I've been kind of in and out of it.
Mhm.
Between myself or bouncing with a group, didn't work out. Went back to myself. And the last group we were with, he had just kind of joined too. But we all knew like that's actually his blood relatives.
Yeah.
So he kind of joined in, and I was still kind of doing my own thing. He was doing his with the group, and then like he heard how I was rapping, I heard how he was singing, and we're like, hey, we should do a song together and see how it comes out. The song came out awesome, and you know it's funny to this day we still haven't released it because we want to redo it and make it really fresh to what we sound like now. But ever since the one song, we just really kind of clicked between music, between personalities, our connection in the studio, and then performance-wise, the energy we bring with it, we know how to bounce it off each other.
Yeah.
So at that point, we're still kind of the same group. We started kind of venturing off doing our own thing. Still with the group, but we'd kind of just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Then eventually we just kind of bounced off and became Arkatex.
Yeah. We try to keep it as consistent as we can, and you know, for those that they have other things in their life, which is understandable. Things happen. So we took it into our own hands. And since we clicked so well, like even outside of just the music, and I see this guy at least 3 or 4 times a week. Like, come on.
The goal is to have this as a full time.
The goal, yes. But I currently do have my full-time job, and that I have a blessing that I just found, so which is pretty awesome. But it's tough because it's like I just got out of work to come over here.
Yeah.
It's when you're still not at the top where you want to be, there's so much life balancing and work balancing that you have to do to. I got this, but I have music, so we got to make it work, and we're fortunate enough to where we are making it work.
That's really cool. So let's take a step back. So you guys met in 2009 because you guys heard about each other and you liked what you guys were doing. So what were you doing at that point before? Like you said, you were opening up for Sure Hill Gang in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like what were you guys doing before you guys decided we're gonna collaborate together?
Well, myself, I was kind of like I said, I was kind of in and out of groups. Like I'd do something, or life happens, and I'm like, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to focus on this. I have a family as well.
Yeah.
I had jobs.
Yeah.
So it was always kind of back and forth with me. But then I can't stop doing music. It's what I do.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it. I'm going to go with it, and that's it. There's no more stopping.
Yeah. And for me, I was like 18 when I started reaching out to some of my family members, like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I could sing. You want to record me? I heard you had a studio. So they ended up recording me, and then basically from there on, it was very inconsistent, just because like a lot of studio time was never available, or I was working at the time and going to school too, and it was just all a balancing act. And then trying to get the producers to be there with me to help me record, it was too much juggling. So
did you go to Central?
No.
Okay,
no,
so you left New Britain?
I'm actually originally from Hartford.
Okay.
I lived in Hartford for almost my entire life.
Okay.
I moved to New Britain maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So right around the same time you were starting to play with him?
Well, we actually were going to the same studio before that while I
Okay.
was still living in Hartford. It's just we ended up showing up one day at the same time, and like, yo, you're pretty dope. I was like, you too. And that's, I mean, to put it simple, that's what happened.
So was it your family studio that you were at that you met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you come from a musical family then, right? So
Well, a lot of this is not my blood relatives. These are a lot of my married family.
okay.
So we didn't really talk as much. So really, it's really awesome because the music actually brought us together tremendously. Because a lot of my other side of the family, like my mother, is very religious. So doing the music I do, it's a no-no. So it was really cool that I ended up reaching out to them, and they took me. Of course, they're family.
Yeah.
So that's how family is. They took me in. They were like, "Awesome, no problem. Let's get you in the studio, see what you got."
So is the studio in Harvard or is the studio in New Britain?
Well, it used to be in New Britain.
Yeah.
Now it's no
It's
longer.
in Plainville now.
Mhm.
But we still see them. We all get along. We have a
Yeah.
ball. They come to our shows. We go to theirs.
That's cool.
We have a really good unity.
That's great. So let's talk about the creative process. So how do you guys go about making a song with the two of you guys?
I'd say there's 3 different ways, and 2 kind of being similar. Those 2 would be, he might start working on something, and then say, okay, I wrote this, now you write 2 and we'll finish it, and then vice versa, I'll do the same. Sometimes I'll have more free time, so I'll just start working on something random, and I might even write the hook. I won't sing it. Actually, I will sing it.
Try.
And nobody will hear that. And I'm like, okay, I sang it, so you go back in and re-sing it.
Are you recording demos of yourself singing it?
No. And then there's just times where we're at the studio together. We're like, you know what? Let's touch on this subject. We'll just hear something like, what idea do you have with this? What idea do you have? We bounce ideas off each other, and we just have a real good connection when it comes to music. I mean, both personally and professionally. So it just really helps out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And there's times where you just hear a beat and boom, I know what I want to do for this. Let's rock it out.
That's cool. So how many albums, or how many, if you don't have albums, how many songs have you guys done together so far?
We're actually working on 2 separate ones right now, but we do have one out. It just came out back in November of last year, called Versus Hooks and Songs. Short is VHS.
Okay, that's cool.
But
Wanna
we're
bring
actually
the old
working
school?
on two sequels.
Yes. Well, the 1.5 version of obviously the original, and that's basically featuring a lot of Connecticut artists that lately we've been in contact with, because as of this past year, I guess the snowball effect. Everything's been growing for us, and a lot of these local artists have been just contacting us directly. We've had artists from the United Kingdom,
we have a couple
sending
actually
us,
working on
at least 2 or 3. Some from Pennsylvania. At one point we had it was from Kenya, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little difficult to make the collaboration, but it was really cool that this guy ended up reaching out towards us. But that VHS 1.5 is basically everything featuring us, a lot of local artists, plus whoever contacted us, and then verses from us. And then we're gonna have our part 2, and that was just simply our new music, what we've been working on recently, just together.
That's cool. That's really cool. So you guys are both of Puerto Rican heritage, and you guys are doing music that's primarily done by African Americans. Is it difficult for you guys to, I wouldn't want to say be taken seriously, but just try to get your foot in the door? Because
I don't think so at all. Like when I look at music, when I hope people look the same way.
Yeah.
I try to look at it as a whole. I know, like if you look at Big Pun, he kind of had the same thing. Like, oh, you're a dope Puerto Rican rapper, or he's just a dope rapper who just happens to be Puerto Rican. But for one, I mean, if it is a majority, black people, we stand out everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get noticed no matter what. But I think on top of that, one thing we really pride ourselves on professionalism.
Yeah.
It's gotten us this far to the point where people reach out to us more than we reach out. Obviously, at first you're gonna say, "Hey, you have the show. Can I come in? Can I come in?"
Yeah.
Now it's getting to the point where we'll get emails. "Hey, we saw you here. You want to do a show with us? Oh, we saw you here. Do you want to come interview with us?" We actually just we got an interview coming up this coming Sunday on Radio 104.
That's awesome. Wow, you're on a rock station?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's crazy, right?
Of all stations in Connecticut, we're getting contacted by a rock station. Like, hey, you know what? It works.
Hey, it's something. And as for me, I mean, you know, you can see it. I don't look the most Puerto Rican person in the world. So I really enjoy the surprise factor when, you know, I'm this little, you know, this white-looking guy, and all of a sudden I start singing something in Spanish. Everybody just neck broken, like, what was that? And then just me singing in general the way I do, people just like, what did he just, I can't believe that. So I love that factor. And although it may make us, like, first walking in, we don't look like we're any contenders in the area.
Yeah.
Then once we get off stage, it's completely different. Everybody's like, you guys were awesome. You know, shaking hands left and right, taking pictures, taking down contact information, giving out business cards left and right, which is what's getting us to where, you know, we need to be going.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, so I think we're gonna take a break. When we come back from the break, we're gonna first play your song. What's the name of the song we're playing?
Hate to Love You.
Hate to Love You. So we're gonna play Hate to Love You. We're gonna take a break and then come back. Hate to Love You, and we're gonna talk about it and wrap up.
Sometimes you just get so mad, but then all of a sudden, just one little thing makes you happy, and that little thing just drives you crazy. Well, this is what it's all about. Arkatex. Let's go.
I can't decide whether it's love or emotion. The way you make me feel, thoughts deeper than the ocean. I hate that I love that it's real. Something years and I'm still living, I can't impale. You did me right, you did me wrong. A few kids later, we still singing the same song. What's wrong? You like a master of disguise. I never know who I'm talking to, and when I think I do, I feel alive. What a surprise, never. You make me feel like I've been set up, and I don't wanna live life like that. See, I got plans back dating many years before you came in my life, before all of the tears. Now, all of a sudden, I gotta stop in my place and carry on, not knowing that I could've ran a better race. It's crazy, but I wouldn't change, cause everything happens for a reason, that's what it says. Wondering if your words are worth all of the thought that you've been adding to the song. Cause when I sit back and think and really get clear in mind, that I remember all the times that I wish you were gone. I count down like 3, 2, 1, but it's a mission that's impossible cause you were the one. I can't say who chose who, but I can say that my vision of us wasn't this outcome that we have come to. Think about it, take your time. It makes sense with the rhythm and rhyme, or do I need to drop the beat so you can hear me more clear? I don't wanna live my life in this fear, not knowing if you're coming and going, not showing how you really feel inside, if your love is still flowing. Step back and picture how the frame could've differed if we would've had made it. Yes, Mrs. and Mr. I love you. Your kissing's what I've been missing. We talked about a home together, but now there's so much distance. Now I'm here sitting, wishing and waiting that we were still together and had the rest of the world hating. But things happen, and you're the reason behind every line of this rapping. Girl, I really hate it. I wish we never dated. My heart, I never gave it. True love is overrated. Who am I kidding? I still love you. If I had the world in my hands, I'd drop it just to hug you, to kiss you. God, I really hate that I miss you so much. Your touch, your smile, it kills me that your everything still drives me wild. Vanessa isn't the only one willing to walk 1,000 miles for love. I hate it.
All right, so we're back. We just heard your song, Hate to Love You. So tell me a little about the song.
Well, mainly it's just someone that has that factor that somebody you're trying to get rid of, basically.
Yeah.
Has that one thing that, like I said, mentions in the intro to the song, it just drives you crazy, and it keeps you coming back when you hate that. And that's basically, what it is for that song.
I think everybody's had a point in their life, if they're in a relationship or whatever, where like, oh, I hate that I love this person, but I do. And you either work through it, or you say, hey, gotta go. You go that way, I go this way.
It happens.
All right, so let's just let people. We're kind of wrap up, run out of time. So let's let people know where they can find you.
Our main link right now is facebook.com/Arkatex. We're actually working on a new website right now, which we're doing a launch party for. So we're working on that. But I mean, Facebook Arkatex, Instagram is
Arkatex.
Twitter would be Arkatex Music.
So somebody already had Arkatex before you guys.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I've been looking, and there's just no way to directly contact Twitter.
Yeah.
Somebody has /Arkatex on Twitter.
Doesn't do anything.
They've had it there since 2010. And have done nothing with. There's no tweets, there's no followers, they don't follow anybody. I'm like,
can we have it?
That? I'm like, can I just take it? Like, it would make so much more sense.
Are you guys verified yet, or?
No,
not yet.
We're not at that level yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. And the little blue check mark.
Yeah. All right, so people can listen to you this weekend on Radio 104.1.
Yep,
Yes.
Sunday night at 8 p.m. on Homebrew 104, Ryan Smart.
Okay, yeah, that's exciting. So hopefully this will be out, and hopefully some people can tune in.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And they can listen to you, then follow up with listening to some alternative rock after you guys are on with it.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
The whole 180. That's fine.
So do you actually go in studio, or do you so how's this interviewing work? Are you driving to Hartford or interviewing there, or are they in Waterbury, right?
They're out of...
I don't even
I don't know where they're out of.
They're occasionally weird. They'll be broadcasting out of the Electric Blue.
The crazy thing was even the 104 been around forever, but then there was a stop out of nowhere. It turned into a rap station.
And then right back.
And then it flipped right back over a couple years later. I'm like, okay, well, that
Yeah.
didn't work out.
It's funny. Well,
revamped everything.
CCC became Christian music station.
Yeah, that was just a week ago maybe?
Yeah. And Big D 103 went from oldies to classic rock.
Wow, so much change.
Snap.
And the River 105.9 when I was younger, and from when my father was a kid, was a rock station. Then it became adult contemporary.
Yeah, it did.
So everything changes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully we get some people to, at your Facebook page and your Twitters and whatnot. And so everybody, thanks for watching. Come back next week. We'll have some art from David Coho. I'm sorry, I mispronounced his last name. I think it's Portuguese. He's an artist. So we'll see you guys. Have a great night. Thank you.